Couple of minutes, folks. Chantal, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? 4 minutes. I'm doing something. Finally. All right. 1 more minute. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to the Pro Trader and Plus, the end of the day trade and AMD earnings. My name is Lee Goldstein, the trading director for 10-minute trades. Please remember, all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. Now, I did say I was going to change the picture on that file. It's a really bad picture. So my new picture, I think it's better. It's not a lot better, but when you're very, very handsome, like I am, it's very hard not to make your picture so good that people start texting and emailing. So I don't want to do all this texting and emailing. So I make my pictures purposefully ugly. Anyway, let's get started. We've got AMD earnings. We've got the end of the day trade, which when we come into the room for earnings, I like to trade the 1550 trade. That's the one that I like to do. All right. So I'm going to trade 1550. And we did go over this morning how to set up AMD. So why don't we quickly set up for the 1550 trade? It's an NQ or an MNQ breakout. And here's how I trade it. Right click the chart, click on strategy, double click news trader. Breakout is on there. I'm going to load my template. Go to template, go to load, and then I'm going to look for end of day. It's either MNQ end of day or end of day. It might be MNQ end of day. Nope, it's end of day MNQ, I think. Let's check MNQ end of day just for fun. I think it's MNQ end of day. I have a couple of both. So double click it. Interesting. Okay. We're going to trigger. It's a breakout trade. I'm going to trigger at 1549.58. 1549.58. Bracket is 35. Position 1 is the number of contracts you want to trade. Position 2 is the number of contracts you want to trade. Risk is up to you. You don't trade the number of contracts I trade. Trade the number of contracts you want to trade for your account, not for my account. All right? So that's important. If you want to know how many I'm trading, I'm going to trade 3 for my first contract, first position, and 1 for my second. Is my live chat not working on eBay? I do want to say hello to everyone watching on eBay. Hello. Hit the like button, please. And I don't know why my computer chat is not working, but it's working, but it won't let me enter in text. And I don't know why. I'm so tired of the technology. I can see the chat, but it won't let me enter in any text. Okay, I'm not going to spend time on it today. Breakout 1549.58. Every time I stream, there's a problem. It's me. I'm not an expert streamer. Oh well. 35 on the bracket. Position 1 is a 3, position 2 is a 1. 20 tick target, 50 tick target, 100 tick stop. Break even if my first target gets hit. Target 1 stop move, I'm moving to break even. And then I'm trading this in my market open account, Studio 54 account we call it. MNQ end of day, apply it. But before I OK it, I'm going to put the time to 0. And we're going to check the bracket width, the width of the bracket. How wide is it? Is it tradable? Or is the bracket too narrow that we can't trade it? Hang on. I have a whole bunch of trades set up that I was doing for AMD. So I don't want my AMD trade triggering at the moment. I want my MNQ end of day trade triggering. Oh, my mistake. Okay, it's on the software already. So I'm just going to leave it there against my better judgment. And that looks good. I don't need 2 MNQ end of days. So we've got 1. All right. It's got a nice bracket, very tradable. Looks good. We're going to put the time back to 0. The market is down now. It was so up when I left this morning. I had to run an errand with my daughter, and the market was very up, and now it's very down. It looks like way down. What happened today? I have not been around to see the news. Somebody want to tell me what happened in the news today to drop the market through the toilet? 20 and 50 on the target. I mean, other than, the normal things that are going on. apply it, okay it. Make sure you put your time back to 15, which I did, not 16. It should be 15. That was my AMD trade. 1549.58 is the trigger. And then I will set up an MNQ reverse continue. Probably won't take it because I'm more interested in us getting over to AMD. Even though AMD is 4:15, they don't come out early. It'll be right around 4:15 and 20 seconds. They're pretty much on time. They historically do not have a great move. It's just the way it is. It's not a great move. AMD, sometimes it's decent. My reverse continue is going to have a 40 tick target and a 40 and a 75 tick stop. It's trading micros, discretionary. And right now we're in end of day mode. So that's our Studio 54 mode, MNQ end of day. Call that MNQ reversal continuation. Apply it, okay it. And I'm going to turn it on. All right. So end of day trade. Going to let it trade. Was I wrong? Was the NQ down this morning? Has it been down all day? Am I wrong? I thought the markets were up this morning. Am I misremembering? When we were in the room, wasn't the NQ up this morning for the market open? Anybody? Anyone remember? Right now we're at 25, we're at 622. No, it was way up, way up. It was up. I'm not gonna argue with anyone. I don't know. Um, it doesn't really matter. This trade usually has a move because it's a market on close order trade. When the orders come in, it usually causes a move in the market. And that's, we're trading this little move. Okay? Tomorrow's an early bird morning. I did not send an early bird trade room email. So, it is your responsibility as a grown up to check the schedule on the trade room lobby or check the schedule, on the WMM. And you should check it a couple of times a week because schedules change, especially with the government shutdown, which hopefully will end this week, I hope. Our government, they should be put in prison for treason against us. That's the truth. For treason against us. They should be put in prison for not doing their jobs. Okay, we're going to get our 1550 trade. Looks like the market's going to close on a down spiral, a death spiral. It's a minor death spiral. It'll come back. Crypto's down like, I don't know, 15%, 10% in the past couple of week. I was thinking of buying some crypto, but I still don't understand what it does. So when I understand what it does, then I'll buy crypto. I think it's a scam. Now, I did not want a long fill on this trade no matter what. I may get stopped out. Now, I got stopped out there, but that was a profit because I had 3 contracts short. It hit my first target for 3 contracts, and then it took me out flat. So that was a winner. It tested the low, and I should have known better and had my second target not so far. All right, not so far away. That's okay. So that was a winner, and it's not over. It still looks like it's going to push down a little bit. I'm just not taking a discretionary trade because I want to get us ready for AMD. I don't want to rush into AMD. So a small profit on the MNQ end of day. Anyone who traded it? Anyone else trade it? Or was I the only one? Anyone else trade it? Tell me what happened to you. Come on. Give me a heads up. We're all in this together. What happened? Nitton, did you make some money? Sander, simmed it. All right. Meadow, CJ, small gain. Let's turn it off. MNQ end of day. We can get rid of that. Now, my chart's going to NQ. I will trade AMD as an NQ trade. So it'll be NQ 1225. And before we set up the trade, let's look at last quarter. All right. Take a quick look at the last quarter on AMD. All right. Let me get the video. Yeah, it did hit the first target. I think the second targets were probably just a little bit too far today on the market close. That's all right. All right, AMD. Let me go over very quickly the way they released their earnings. And I want to thank everybody for visiting. Thanks for joining us on YouTube. Hit the like button and hit the notification bell so you know the next time we'll be streaming. All right. AMD, their history, starting in February. 415.57, 415.01, and that is a question mark. 415.49, 415.11, 415.13, 415.30, 415.32, 415.35, 415.12, 415. Getting the picture, everybody? AMD releases their earnings 415 and about 20, 30 seconds in general. That creates a minor challenge in that your orders might be sitting on the chart for 20 or 30 seconds. So you may want to press the adjust button if the market is volatile as the market gets ready for AMD's earnings. All right. 415 does make it so that it's usually a manageable time of day to trade earnings. Okay, last quarter they came out 415.04, it looks like to me. That was the news move at 415.04. Okay. How do I know that? Trust me, I know it. I'll show you. I like that. I'm happy. I want them to release their earnings closer and closer to 415. We don't want to let our orders sit on the chart if we don't have to. And it looks like it hit two targets. And that was August. All right. And then the market sold off big time after their earnings. Then if we look at May, yeah, I hate when the indexes are making new highs and new lows around earnings. Sometimes it makes for a more muted trade. So I wish it wasn't doing that, TJ, but we don't have any way to control that it's doing it. So I'm still going to take a normal trade, but it does increase the risk and make the opportunity a little bit less. That's being honest. That's what it does. Last quarter, 2 quarters ago, we had frozen orders. Nothing like prop trading for those who like frozen orders. It happens. It's annoying as all heck. And it just, I'm in the mood to do a prop trading rant today, which I won't do. Um, the orders did freeze a little bit, which is unusual. Usually at 415, we still were able to get a small profit. It was not a great move either. It went down and then quickly reversed because it did look like the earnings fill we got was before earnings. That's what it looks like. So if you look at the time at 4:15:03, you got frozen orders. Thank you, prop trading data feeds, for that. We love your consistency and beauty in your data feed. It's a pleasure to do business with such wonderful data feeds. But let's blame Ninja Trader for everything. 4:15:25, no earnings. We're already filled. That's the problem. We were filled way early, and the earnings came out at 4:15:35-ish, 4:15:34-ish, it looks like. So we want to be careful. Try to be careful about not getting filled early. Yes, I've traded AMD for 2 years, Nitin. Why do you ask? What a silly question. Why do you ask? There's the, I would tell you if it was a brand new trade. We've been trading AMD for a couple of years, for 3 or 4 years. I'm just curious, why do you ask? Why? That's a funny question. I don't know why it's a funny question. It's like saying, have you ever traded futures before? We definitely have a setup for AMD. Definitely have a setup. Um, Let me go over the setup, everyone. Here's the setup that I like. All right. There's no rush generally. There has been one or two where they released right close to 415. You may not have, Nitin. We did it last quarter. I don't know if you were here or not. I don't remember. Um, so there's always a possibility they will release near 415. So we have to put our orders on the chart before 415, even though almost every one is after 415. So we'll put our orders on at 16:14:58 Eastern Time. The bracket is the tricky part with AMD. I don't know. I'd like to try and get away with a small bracket. Not small, but not a 435 tick bracket. But at about 7 minutes after, we'll check our bracket again for a little smaller bracket. I think 35 might be the magic bracket. Maybe the magic bracket is very important to have a magic bracket. 16:14:58 is the trigger. 35 is the magic bracket. Decide how many contracts you want to trade. They don't have to be the same number that I trade. I should not have to say that every time I set up a trade. Position 1, 2, and 3 are your number of contracts. Take the risk you want to take. I'm not telling you how many contracts to trade. The targets that I would recommend for AMD are anywhere between 20 and 100, figuring that target 2 probably be about 50 or 60 based on the way that it's been moving. I'm thinking maybe today we get an anomaly kind of move, not an anomaly, but a bigger move than normal because there's a lot of attention on AMD now and all the chips, everything, because the chips are making so much money, AMD included, so many deals going on. So I think there's an opportunity for a bigger move. So I am using an 85 target, which is a little big for AMD. Stop is 50. If it hits my first target, I'll use the target one stop move to break even. I'm going to put my time to 0, even though this is not a good time to check the bracket. Only check the bracket in Sim because you could get frozen charts right now. So don't do a bracket check unless you're in sim. Orders did not freeze. They don't often freeze in sim. Market's moving up off that low. Hey, now, do I have to remind everybody I do? Remember the setup we're talking about? I'm going to create a whole new company. I'm not kidding. I am so dead serious about this. And I think it's better than magnets. I swear to God, I have a better setup than magnets. I'm going to not even tell you what it is. Um, Hang on, I'm making notes. Remember the setup we talked about? How after you hit a high or a low, something happens? Does anybody remember? Does anybody listen to anything I say? That's my first question. If, Chantal, I know you're listening. What I mean is, if AMD just released their earnings, I'm really going to scream. That's a little bit, I mean, it doesn't, I'm not getting any news that they released their earnings, but that was an interesting little move the stock just made. $3 or so, probably not earnings, but my charts were spread so wide, it looked like might have been earnings, but it isn't. All right. So that's a good lesson. Don't spread your charts so wide. Anyway, there is a setup. 30-second chart. Everybody know what I'm talking about? Use the squeeze. Momentum change. Right? Right? Look, if you put your crosshair on, there's our first momentum change. It wasn't good there. However, you're not going to do this setup before 4 o'clock because you could get killed in the market close. So this would not have worked because it happened at the wrong time of day. Very, very important to pay attention to time of day when you take a trade. If you take a trade at the wrong time of day, sometimes, yes, the setup might work, but more often than not, you're going to get blasted out of your setup because you're going to get a wrong kind of move for that time of day. All right, we have our breakout set up for AMD. I'm now setting up a reverse continue, a couple of contracts, one position, and I'm just looking for 40 tick target with a 40 tick stop. That's a discretionary possibility after the AMD news is out. Same account as the breakout, the Studio 54 account. And then I'm going to put my chart on Studio 54. And I'm going to enable both my trades. Let me turn one of them off because it's in sim. Let me fix my sim trade. Something's wrong. Don't forget to put your time back to 16:14:58. Okay, 16:14:58, and choose the account you're trading in. Studio 54. What was the name of the guy that owned Studio 54? Steve. Calvin, you probably know it because you seem to know everything. Steve, what was his name, Calvin? Either you're the fastest guy on Google or you're the smartest. No, Steve Wynn was the casino owner. He's the casino owner. Um, I'm talking about a different Steve owned Studio 54. I think he's dead now. Getting a complete reversal off the low. Um, but that's not unusual. Hubert and John, Hubert in particular, used to have Something called, yeah, Steve Rubel. Thanks. Tell the truth. You Googled it, right? You Googled that one. I knew that. Thank you, though. Um, Hubert Centers has a end of day trade called the Trin trade. It's a fabulous trade. Now, I can't claim it as my own, but it was based on the YM. It was a YM trade. When the Trin closed at 4 o'clock above 1.5, you just go long the YM. Eyes closed, nose squeezed, no smelling, just go long. So if the market was down 500, 1,000 points at 4 p.m., if the Trin is above 1.5, you go long. Now, I would think you could do a very similar trade to the NQ on that. Now, it's interesting here because it really started pushing up before the close. It started pushing up at after the 1555 trade might have gone short, right? Anyway, it's an interesting concept. A lot of times the market sells off, sells off, sells off all day. You get to the end of the day, and there's just a natural kind of, the day's over reversal, you know? And that is one of the reasons why that trend trade works and is very, very interesting. Um, I'm not saying the trade still works. I haven't looked at it in years. My guess is it still works because it's one of those like a magnet trade. It's around forever. And I think it probably still works, but it's an interesting trade. If the trend closes above 1 point below, above 1.5 on a very, it'll be a very negative day if that happens. Take the YM long. What was the stop? I don't remember. 100 tick stop maybe on the YM. It was a big fat stop. And the idea is to hold it till morning, till the morning open. Morning open. You know how many people have the yarbles to hold it until the morning open? Very few. Most people, they get a little profit, they take it, they get scared. A lot of times you hold it till the market open, you get a big reward. I remember this is like going back 10 years ago that I used to do this. Now with prop accounts, it doesn't matter what's the big deal. You lose, your account goes broke, reset it, $39. It's not like losing $1,000 in cash. So it's a different ball game. I would think the trend trade would be more interesting to take now. Might be a good way to pass some evals. Anyway, how do you get the trend on your chart? You have to buy, that's a good question. You have to buy a very inexpensive piece of data. I don't remember what the data is. Maybe TradingView has the trend. Somebody want to do some homework for me and find out how to get the trend on Thinkorswim or TradingView. Somebody tell me. How do we get the trend? I know at Ninja you have to buy something. You have to buy a data feed. I forget which data feed. I'll have to ask. I think I want to start trading that trade again. AMD, test the bracket. We said we would do it now. See what kind of volatility the market has. Setting the time to zero. Time to zero. Put your account on SIM. Put the software on SIM. Put your chart trader on SIM. Widen your chart. Open wide, says the dentist. And that's a nice manageable bracket. I wish it wasn't triggering so close to the low. My guess is AMD is going to have great earnings. It's another tech company um, doing well. The tech companies are doing well. Most of them. Most of them are not. Never mind. 16, 14, 58 on the time. 35 bracket. Targets of 20 and 85, 50 on the stop. That's my setup. AMD breakout is my label. Trading it in account 23. Apply it. Okay it. Make sure my software, my chart trader is on the right account. And also make sure my NQ reversal continuation is on the right account because I was setting it up before on a different account. It's no longer a market close or open, so it has to be fairly traded in a different prop account. And it is. All right. Okay. We've got 5 minutes, not even, 3.5. AMD. So my thinking, we get a good move. The big issue with AMD, the big trick is trying not to get filled before the news comes out. You can use the adjust button. All right. You can use the adjust button. My gut feeling, I know it's last minute. I'm going to slightly increase my bracket. The market's pretty volatile on the breakout. I'm going to go to 40. I know it's not a big increase, just a little bit. Apply it, okay it. I'm not dying to go to 50 because AMD, it just doesn't always move enough to give us a profit. So the adjust button lets you adjust your recenter the bracket. That's the best way I can explain it. It recenters the bracket. You know, Chantal, I'm going to stay for API because I think it did 18 or 28 ticks last week. So since it's only a few minutes away, were you interested in trading it? But since we have a DMM for it, I'm going to stay for it. And I'll keep our stream going. What the heck? I'll trade it. I'll even trade it. It has not been doing much, but it did have a winning week last week. So maybe it's going to, with the way oil's been moving nicely in the market opens. I think I misspoke this morning too. I was kind of knocking the way oil was working, moving in the market opens, but it's not moving badly. It's moving much better than gold. The YM, I am no longer trading the market open at the exact moment the market opens. My favorite YM setup is either a magnet on the market open or the setup, the magic setup that I'm talking about. I think a lot of us have fresh evals. I've still got my funded accounts, but I've done a little bit of damage to them. Not a lot, but a little bit. I have not started in my funded accounts in exactly the way I wanted to. I'm a little bit disappointed, and I'm trying to make amends. Way to go, Chantal. Very nice. Chantal has successfully taken money from Apex recently. Now, this is a little bit concerning. The move, trying to keep from getting filled, is an issue with AMD today because the market is moving a little bit. So the adjust button might help. The problem with the adjust button is you don't want to press the button the moment the earnings come out because it screws up the trade. Then the problem is, well, do you just just stay in the trade? See, I don't believe that's my orders were frozen, but I still made a ton of money. Bad earnings for AMD, bad earnings. I still have a frozen order, so I've got to open my art trader and make sure I don't have an open order in art trader. Oh, it's gone. You should check anyway. That was what, $500 trade? I didn't look and see how much money I had before the trade. Our setup worked perfectly. You just had to make sure you didn't get filled before the event. You had to make sure you didn't get filled before. That was not easy because it had a big jolt up. I did hit the adjust button. Phil, I mean, what you're saying is exactly what to do. You know what I mean? Find the right times. It's exactly what everything we do is, right? Phil, find the right time for the setup. It doesn't have to be a market open. It could be, hey, everybody's coming back from lunch. You're smart enough to know that, and that's a great setup. All right, 500 bucks AMD profit, 600 for Calvin on Apex. Very nice. Very nice. Knitting. 80 bucks on MNQ is decent though, Knitting. That's an MNQ trade. It's hard to make a lot of money on MNQ. You got to trade a whole bunch of contracts. Um, a whole bunch of people are watching us on YouTube. We've been doing really, really well with earnings. This quarter has been very, very good with earnings. There's been very few. We've only had one bad earnings trade. Which one was it? It was last week. Boeing. Boeing. And I kind of ruined it by scalping poorly after the trade. You know, it was just a normal stop out. And then sometimes you don't walk away from a normal stop out and you do really stupid things. And that's part of trading, doing stupid things and stopping yourself from doing them. It's very, very hard. Look at TOS. CJ, what do you mean? TJ, I'm calling you CJ. TJ, what do you mean? Calvin says he made $5,000 on earnings in 2 days last week. That's the kind of week people had last week on earnings. It was amazing. I think I made 28 cents, but that's okay. Now, we had really good earnings days too. Oh, AMD. Yeah. I mean, that's the case with these stocks on earnings. We see this all the time. A big move in one direction, and then the stock recovers, and then the market changes direction. And that's why you don't want to stay in an earnings trade usually very long. Take your profit, let the market settle down, and then take your next trade. Unless the other approach, what Chantal did, is she waited for the initial move and took the reversal. She's good at taking those reversals. You don't have to take the first move if you don't want to. Take the reversal. So there's more than one way to trade the earnings. We all know that now. We're learning, especially now because Nitin, you're still torturing yourself over United Health. I'm still torturing myself over 2 quarters ago United Health when I didn't put my account on live. It was the biggest United Health move ever. And I say, forgive yourself and move on, but I'm torturing myself and I will never leave the corner ever. I will be in that corner forever. That's the true reality of life. But I will still teach not to be in the corner forever because you gotta. You gotta try not to be in the corner forever. But it's one of the ones that just bugs me forever because it was so stupid. And I got up at 5 in the morning to take the trade. It was like unbelievably ridiculous. And what's even worse is my behavior. I was talking I don't even know, like an idiot. I was just chatting through the earnings, not even noticing that the trade was starting. It was unbelievably ridiculous. It was ridiculous. And I'm in the corner and I'll stay in the corner because I can't believe I did that. Let's go to API. Another great earnings trade, folks. I love these trades when they work, and they work so much more often than they don't. I love these earnings trades. They are just really nice, profitable trades. And look, it wasn't totally easy, right? It wasn't totally easy. You had to move your orders using the adjust button in most cases. South African, I don't understand what you're saying. 1.3K in and you're down. 275 and shares at 255. I mean, if you can put that in English in some way so that I know what you're saying, I can comment if you want me to. I don't know what you mean. That you bought the shares at 255, is that what you're saying? Now, the stock went down big time on the earnings. And now I'm not watching it, so I don't know if it came back or not. I'm not sure if it came back. So I'm assuming you're saying you bought a whole bunch of shares at 255. And it's now 249-ish. It's now 249-ish. So, I mean, I don't have to tell you it's risky, obviously, to buy shares before earnings, right? People do it. People day trade stock earnings with the stock. We're trading the futures. We're not trading the stock. All right, let's get to oil. Let's see what's going on with oil. All right, last week was the first time in about 2 months that the API report had a move that was tradable. CL1225. I may just sim this because it's been so horrible. This report has been so poorly behaved. I don't know that I care enough about it to trade it still. There is a way to trade it with one contract. Now, the news is private for 5 minutes. Calvin's up 1,200 today. Earnings and open today. Very nice, Calvin. Very nice. What am I looking for? The news. We need the news. The API is a storage report. So we'll look at the economic calendar. The first 5 minutes, this report is private, so the market does not know the news. And there is a move, though, right at 4:30 most of the time or a couple of seconds after. And more often than not, the move is so small and such a poor move that it's not even barely worth trading. Now, the thing about New Zealand's job report tonight is the market is closed when they release their report. So you can't trade it. Wait, what did he say is delayed? Oh, they have API as tentative, but that is not a government report. That is a private report. So I'm definitely not trading this. I'm not really interested in giving money back on a report that, let me show you the DMM. We got to get this set up. There's only 5 minutes left. One winner out of the last 6, one dull, 3 cancels. Okay. Right click strategy. It's a range trade. It may be that our setup just, if it doesn't move, you can't make a trade. You just can't have a setup if it doesn't move. 1629.58. We start the range. It's a very short range. 1629.58. What are we doing? 6 ticks above the range? Yeah, 6 ticks above, 6 ticks below. Show the range graphics on chart. End the range at 1630.02. All right. 1630.02. And we'll do 2 targets. One for 7, one for 14. One of our members had a great idea. Just combine both positions into one and go for like 10 ticks. And the way this report behaves, it's not a bad choice. 13 tick stop. It's not a very big stop. So 16 29.58, we start the range, 6 ticks above, 6 ticks below, so there's got to be a decent move to fill us. Not big, just a little bit of something. We're ending the range at 1630.02, target of 7, target of 14, stop of 13. That's the setup. I'm only doing it in sim. I will label it API range. That's the main trade, API range. Why only in sim? Because it's only had one winner in about 3 months. It's been terrible. That's why. It's a report we were going to stop even paying attention to, but I asked my boss to please keep making the DMMs. I'm also going to put a reverse continue. Let me use sim account number 2. Reverse continue on micro oil, 3 contracts, 1 position. Reverse continue. The other way you can trade a reverse continue real quick is you do 2 contracts position 1, 1 contract position 2, 7 ticks on the first target, 13 ticks on the second target, 25 tick, 30 tick stop because it's micros. You know, you can trade a reverse continue like a multi-position trade. There's nothing wrong with doing that. MCL reverse continue. Apply it. Okay it. Turn that one on. All right. And then I'll do a reverse continue for after the range trade on full size oil. Reverse continue, just 1 contract because oil's $10 a tick. I'll do a 15 tick target. I'll do a 20 tick stop. Again, just simming, not risking any kind of serious, anything real on this. CL, reverse continue. The biggest lesson I can teach so that people do well trading with us, trade the events that give you an opportunity for a good profit. Trade the events that give you an opportunity for good profit. Now I want to put these on Sim 2. The only reason is because I was doing something on Sim 1 and there's a negative balance. It just makes it confusing. So you don't always know what happened on this trade till you calculate the negative balance. It's a pain. And then I need to set up the range on Sim 2, the reverse continue on Sim 2, apply it, okay, and so we've got the CL reverse continue, the API range trade is ready, and my MCL is set to Sim 1 inside the software, so let's clean that up. Account Sim 2, 102, 202. Apply it and OK it to make the change, turn it on. Everything is ready. Everything, chart traders are on Sim 2. So let's see if there's any move on the range. That's number 1. So remember, this is a private report. For 5 minutes, the news is known only to the API company subscribers. They sell the report. I think it's like $1,200 a year. It's not even worth buying anymore because the market doesn't move on the API report anymore. So that is a problem for them. I think they're a right-wing think tank anyway, is what I've heard. I don't know if that's true. It's just scuttlebutt that I've heard that the American Petroleum Institute is a right-wing, some sort of a right-wing oil corporation. I don't even know. I forget that I said. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, here comes there's our range. There was so little, even so. Here's something I will never understand if I live to be 1,000 years old. Someone's going to have to explain it to me. And at the expense of coming off as a really dumb person, someone's going to have to explain it. This would be a canceled range trade to me right now because the news is out. That 3 tick move was the news. And there it is on the MCL with a little bit bigger of a burst. This is a canceled range. Okay? You don't want to be filled now because the move is over for the news. So for 5 minutes now, you're going to just sit around, and this is the report I hate more than anything else in the world to trade. It's such a time waster these days because it doesn't move. So my range trade is canceled, okay? It's not going to move. It most often doesn't. But in anywhere between the next 5 and 20 minutes, the news will come out and it will either show up on the investing.com website here or the nice people at Financial Juice, if you have the pro version, you can hear it, the news result in your squawk box, all right, which we use every single day, every moment that we trade the news, we use the squawk box. And we recommend that anyone who's trading news use the squawk box. Okay? It's fantastic. And it's unbelievably reasonably priced. It's unheard of. It's one of the best news trading products on the market. So we recommend it. We love it. Now we're just going to wait. I may not be able to bear waiting here more than a few minutes because I don't I'm not that interested in what this report does because it's just not going to do much of anything, most probably. Oil's a little bit bearish today. We traded the open this morning and tried to outsmart the market and outsmarted ourselves and missed the trade. But that's a whole other issue. We'll deal with it tomorrow morning at the open. And for 2.5 more minutes, the only people that know the news are the people that subscribe to the API report and all the insider traders and sneaky people that have friends there, and the whole market, except us, knows what the news is. So there are people out there that know the news. It's just we don't. But don't you think if the news was dramatic, that there would have been a move, that it wouldn't be dull with a no fill? Well, I do, right? Heads up. Tomorrow morning, 6:45 for McDonald's earnings. Usually worth getting up for, okay? Usually worth getting up for. Let me make sure that's the right time. So it's an early trade room and it's a fast trade room. Usually they're a half hour. I decided I don't want to do a half hour. 6:45, quick, put the orders on, watch the earnings, go back to sleep for half an hour. That's the schedule for tomorrow morning. TJ, put on a trade and just let it go. Let it trade. Use the automated method. Wait for the new software update so that you can tell the automated system how many dollars you're willing to lose. That's what you want to do. We're updating automated, seriously, because that's some of the earnings you can put on automated. Let them trade. Protect the account with the number of dollars you're willing to lose. Figure it could double, right? Just to be safe. Figure nothing's going to be perfect. Nothing's going to work perfectly. It's just be smart. Know that your risk is going to be more than you think, because that's the reality of trading. So here's the thing that maybe it makes me dumb, but correct me if I'm wrong. The prop account data feeds, they're not live accounts, right? Can everyone agree on that? They're not live market trading accounts. They're SIM accounts, right? Is that true? People say yes, they're SIM accounts. So if they're SIM accounts, when we trade a SIM account in our brokerage account with NinjaTrader, there's no slippage and there's no liquidity. It's a SIM account. It's not a real server. It's not real. It's simulated. The data is not the same as a live cash account. So why does the prop account have frozen orders? And what appears to be slippage. When 9 times out of 10 in a sim account, you don't have slippage and liquidity bad fills. I need someone to explain that to me. And I need someone to explain to me why the frozen order, whose fault really are the frozen orders. Look at our AMD trade from today. The orders were frozen. I'll bet that they weren't frozen in cash, that it was only in sim, in prop that they froze. Did anyone trade AMD in cash in the room today? Anyone? Probably not. Cash trading is so much less these days. So much less. It's no wonder every broker, or I shouldn't say every broker, but it's no wonder that companies are starting prop accounts, prop trading firms, right? Because that's where the money is. Am I the only one who notices some of this stuff? Does anyone else have any of these questions or what? I want to know. What's the truth? No one knows I want the truth about the data feeds. Or is it just, are we just being so ignorant? Maybe we're just being so ignorant. And the reality is, when you get a fast move, it can't keep up, and that's that. Just that simple. I mean, there is a part of me that says, if someone's trading cash, that is the reason. Liquidity dries up sometimes at the time of a trade, at the time of news. Sometimes liquidity dries up. I don't even know what that means, but I know it happens. Um, and the market moves very fast and you get a bad fill. We know that that happens in cash. That 9 times out of 10, if you get a bad fill in cash, there's no point in calling the broker and saying, hey, I got a bad fill. What happened? That's the reason. Liquidity dried up and or the market was too fast to keep up with any software. It's not that our software is defective. It's not our software being defective. No. Watch other companies' streams during fast market movements. You'll see Ninja Trader, frozen orders. You'll see the same things. Now, lots of companies hide that stuff. We can't hide because we trade at the time of the event. It seems, I think people are much more able to hold on, deal with the problems. People are more willing to deal with big build, 6.5 million. Big build, 6.5 million. There is no forecast. A draw on distillates, that's mixed news. But a big build, that is a big build. Now, there was no forecast today. However, there was a forecast on, no, there was a forecast on financial juice and it was negative 2.4. So we have an 8 million build because you add the build to the drawdown because it had to go 2.4 million to get to zero and then it's another 6 million. So that's like an 8 million build and there's no move whatsoever. So I'm going to say see it all later. Everybody on YouTube, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the AMD trade that people made hundreds and hundreds of dollars on. And come to our Ninja Trader webinar on Thursday. I can't believe that I can't post it because I can't type text into the chat. I can't figure out why. Let me try one thing. It's a dockable window Let me try and show the doc again. And it won't let me type text. It shows me the chat. It never does it this way. So I can't type the link. Sorry. And it's just opened some random help menu, just like Windows does. All right, folks. Thanks on YouTube. We had a nice crowd watching us. So hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we should be streaming tomorrow, I think, morning for the market open.